My mom canceled my 15th birthday party and sent my sister to Disney World. My mom looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Emma, your sister is my pride and joy 3 days before my 15th birthday." They packed their bags, boarded a plane, and left me completely alone. But what I discovered while they were gone changed my life forever. I was standing in my bedroom, staring at the 15 pink balloons I'd hung up myself that morning, when my mom walked in with that look on her face. You know the one. The expression that says she's about to deliver news that'll crack your world wide open. "Nicole, honey, we need to talk about your birthday party this weekend," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. My heart started racing because I'd been planning this party for months, every single detail, from the playlist to the snacks to the guest list of 20 friends from school. I'd even picked out my outfit 3 weeks ago, a blue dress I'd saved up my babysitting money to buy. But something in her tone told me everything was about to fall apart. "What about it?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady even though my hands were already shaking. She sat down on my bed, smoothing out the comforter like she always did when she was stalling, and then she dropped the bomb that would change how I saw my family forever. "We're going to have to cancel it, sweetheart. Something came up," she said, still not looking directly at me. I felt my stomach drop like I was on a roller coaster. That horrible sensation when you know you're about to plunge but you can't do anything to stop it. Cancel it? 3 days before my 15th birthday? I'd already confirmed with everyone, ordered the cake from Morrison's Bakery downtown, and my dad had promised to pick up the pizza from Angelo's on Saturday afternoon. "What do you mean something came up?" I asked, and I could hear my voice cracking despite my best efforts to sound calm. My mom finally looked at me, and that's when I noticed she wasn't upset or apologetic. She looked almost excited, like whatever this something was actually made her happy. "Your sister got accepted into that special youth program at Disney World, the one she applied for months ago. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Nicole. They want her there this weekend for orientation, and the whole thing is all expenses paid except for travel," she explained, her words coming faster now. My little sister Emma was 12, 3 years younger than me, and she'd been obsessed with marine biology ever since she watched some documentary about dolphins last year. Apparently, she'd applied for this educational program at Epcot without telling anyone, and now she'd gotten in. "That's great for Emma, but what does that have to do with my party?" I asked, even though somewhere deep down I already knew the answer. I just needed to hear her say it out loud, needed confirmation that what I was thinking was actually happening. But right then, standing there with my stupid handmade decorations mocking me from the walls, I realized that in my family, some people mattered more than others. "Well, the program starts Saturday morning, which means we need to fly out Friday night. Your father and I talked about it, and we think this is too important an opportunity for Emma to miss. We're all going to support her. It's a family trip," my mom said, and she actually smiled when she said the word family like that word included everyone equally. But the way she said it, with that bright enthusiasm in her voice, made it crystal clear that my birthday didn't even register as important enough to consider. I felt my throat getting tight, that burning sensation you get right before you're about to cry, but I refused to let her see me break down. "So you're canceling my birthday party? The one I've been planning for months? The one where I invited 20 people who are expecting to come to my house in 3 days because Emma got into a program that starts the same weekend?" I said each word slowly, carefully, wanting to make sure I understood correctly. My mom stood up, brushing invisible lint off her jeans, already mentally checking out of this conversation. "Nicole, you're 15 now. You're old enough to understand that sometimes we have to make sacrifices for family," she said. Like being older somehow meant my feelings mattered less than Emma's opportunities. Then she said the words that would echo in my head for years to come. "Emma is my pride and joy. This achievement proves she's going places. We can do something small for your birthday when we get back. Maybe take you to that burger place you like," she said casually, like she was offering me a consolation prize at a carnival. "Emma is my pride and joy. Not, you're both my pride. Not, I'm proud of both my daughters. Just Emma. Always Emma." I stood there feeling something crack inside my chest, something that had been slowly breaking for years but was finally splitting completely open. "What about all the people I invited? What am I supposed to tell them?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper now. My mom waved her hand dismissively, like I was worrying about something trivial. "Just send them a text or something. They'll understand. You kids are always so dramatic about these things. It's just a birthday, Nicole. You'll have plenty more," she said, already walking toward my bedroom door. Just a birthday. Like turning 15 didn't matter. Like the fact that I'd been excited about this for months meant nothing. After she left, I sat on my bed staring at those pink balloons, And I started counting in my head all the times Emma had gotten priority over me. When she wanted piano lessons in 3rd grade, my parents bought a $2,000 keyboard and paid for private instruction twice a week. When I asked for art supplies that same year, my dad told me to use the crayons we already had at home. When Emma made the junior cheerleading squad last year, my parents threw her a surprise party and invited the whole extended family. When I made honor roll for the 3rd semester in a row, my mom said, "That's nice, honey," and went back to scrolling through her phone. The pattern had always been there. I'd just been too young or too hopeful to see it clearly until now. I picked up my phone and stared at the group chat with my friends, trying to figure out how to explain that my own parents were ditching my birthday to take my sister to Disney World. How do you even word something like that without sounding pathetic? "Hey everyone! Party's canceled because my family decided Emma's marine biology thing is more important than my birthday." Sounded bitter and sad. "Something came up. Can't do the party this weekend." Sounded vague and weird. I typed and deleted about 7 different messages before finally settling on something neutral that made me want to throw my phone across the room. "Hey guys, I'm really sorry, but we have to cancel the party this Saturday. Family emergency came up and we have to travel out of town. I'm so sorry for the late notice." I typed, my fingers shaking as I hit send. Within seconds, my phone started buzzing with responses. My best friend Madison sent 3 crying emojis and "No, I was so excited," followed by "Is everything okay?" I didn't know how to answer that because technically nothing was wrong. No one was sick or dying. My family was just choosing to prioritize Emma over me like they always did. But I couldn't say that without sounding like I was jealous of my own sister, even though that's exactly what I was starting to feel. The responses kept coming in, everyone saying they understood and hoped everything was all right, asking if I needed anything. Their kindness made it worse somehow, made the whole situation feel more real and more humiliating. I turned my phone face down on my bed and walked over to my mirror, looking at my reflection like I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me. What made Emma so special and me so forgettable? She was pretty, sure, with her blonde hair and green eyes that everyone always commented on. I had the same brown hair as my dad, plain and straight, and brown eyes that nobody ever called striking or beautiful. But it wasn't just about looks, it was about everything. Emma was bubbly and social, always making friends easily, always the center of attention at family gatherings with her stories and her laugh that sounded like wind chimes. I was quieter, more reserved, the kind of person who preferred reading in my room to performing for relatives. Emma got straight A's without really trying, while I had to work hard for my B+ average. She played 3 sports, sang in the school choir, and still had energy left over to volunteer at the animal shelter on weekends. Meanwhile, I did my homework, babysat to earn spending money, and apparently that wasn't impressive enough to warrant basic consideration. I heard my dad's voice downstairs talking to Emma, his tone excited and animated in a way it never was when he talked to me. "We're going to have such an amazing time, princess. Disney World for a whole week. Your mom's already looking at hotels near the park," he said, and I could hear Emma squealing with delight. A whole week. They were taking her for an entire week, not just the weekend. My birthday was on Tuesday, which meant they wouldn't even be home for my actual birthday, not just the party. They were going to miss my 15th birthday completely, and from the sounds of it, nobody downstairs seemed to care or even remember that detail. I walked downstairs slowly, each step feeling heavier than the last, and found my whole family in the kitchen. Emma was bouncing around showing my dad something on her phone, probably details about the program. My mom was at the counter looking at flights on her laptop, and my older brother Tyler was making a sandwich, completely oblivious to everything as usual. "So you're all going?" I asked, even though I already knew the answer. My dad looked up and smiled that distracted smile he gave when he was only half paying attention. "Of course. This is a big deal for your sister. We want to be there to support her and make it a real family vacation," he said. "But my birthday is on Tuesday." "You'll miss my actual birthday," I said, trying to keep my voice level and failing. The kitchen got quiet for a second, that awkward silence when everyone realizes they forgot something important but nobody wants to admit it. My mom glanced at my dad, and I saw something pass between them. Some silent communication that basically said, "Oops, we didn't think about that." Emma stopped bouncing and looked at me with what might have been genuine concern, or might have been guilt. I couldn't tell. "We can celebrate when we get back, honey. It's just one birthday," my dad said finally, using that reasonable tone adults use when they're trying to make something unreasonable sound logical. Just one birthday. Just my 15th birthday. The one that was supposed to be special. The one where I finally felt like a real teenager instead of an awkward kid. Right. Just one birthday, I repeated flatly. Tyler finally looked up from his sandwich, sensing the tension. That's kind of messed up, isn't it? Missing Nicole's actual birthday, he said, and I felt a rush of gratitude toward my 18-year-old brother who usually ignored family drama. My mom shot him a look that could freeze fire. Tyler, this isn't your concern. Emma's opportunity is time-sensitive. Nicole's birthday happens every year, she said sharply. Before I could say anything else, before I could point out that Emma's achievement didn't require the entire family to abandon me on my birthday, my mom asked the question that made everything 1,000 times worse. Nicole, you understand, right? You're mature enough to see why this is important. Emma looks up to you so much, and I know you want to support her success, she said, and I realized she was manipulating me into agreeing. If I said no, if I admitted that yes, this hurt, and yes, I felt like I didn't matter, then I'd be the selfish sister who couldn't be happy for Emma. I was trapped in a corner where the only acceptable response was to smile and pretend I was fine with being forgotten. Sure, Mom, I understand, I said, my voice coming out hollow and distant. But if you're watching this and you've ever felt like you came second in your own family, leave a like on this video. And tell me in the comments, what would you do in this situation? Would you speak up, or would you stay quiet like I did? Because what happened next made me question everything I thought I knew about my family, and I need to know if I was wrong to feel the way I felt. My mom smiled like I'd just given her permission to forget about me completely, and she went back to booking flights while Emma started making a packing list out loud. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of my family packing and planning downstairs. Emma's excited voice carried up through the vents, talking about all the things she wanted to see at Disney World, about the program schedule, about how she couldn't wait to meet the marine biologists leading the workshops. My parents responded with equal enthusiasm. My mom suggesting they extend the trip to visit Universal Studios, too. My dad saying they should definitely eat at that fancy restaurant inside Cinderella's castle. Nobody mentioned my name once. Nobody came upstairs to check if I was okay. Nobody seemed to remember that I existed at all. I pulled out my phone and opened the family group chat, the one we barely used except for my mom to send embarrassing memes or my dad to share articles nobody asked for. I scrolled back through months of messages and noticed something I'd never paid attention to before. Every message was either about Emma or from Emma. Emma made the honor roll again, with 3 heart emojis. So proud of Emma for winning the science fair, with pictures attached. Emma's cheerleading squad is performing at the mall this Saturday if anyone wants to come watch. The last message about me was from 4 months ago when I got a job at the bookstore downtown, and my mom had sent a simple thumbs-up emoji, nothing else. I started scrolling through my mom's Facebook page next, torturing myself with evidence I didn't really need. Her profile picture was her and Emma at the beach last summer, both of them laughing, sun-kissed, and perfect. I had been on that trip too. Had taken the photo, actually, but I wasn't in it. Her cover photo was Emma in her cheerleading uniform from last year's championship. I scrolled through her posts, months and months of them, and counted. 47 posts about Emma in the last 6 months. 47 posts celebrating her achievements, sharing her photos, bragging about her accomplishments. Posts about me? I found 3. One was a shared post about a book sale at the store where I worked, not even about me specifically. One was a family photo from Christmas that included all of us. The last one was from my 14th birthday last year, a single picture with the caption, "Happy birthday, Nicole," with 1 candle emoji. The comparison was so stark, so undeniable, that I felt stupid for never noticing before. Or maybe I had noticed. Maybe I'd always known somewhere deep down, but I'd been making excuses for it. Emma's younger, she needs more attention. Emma's more active, she does more things worth posting about. Emma's just more interesting than me. But the truth was simpler and more painful than any excuse I could make. My parents had a favorite child, and it wasn't me. I took screenshots of my mom's Facebook page, not sure why, maybe as evidence, maybe just to prove to myself later that I wasn't crazy or overly sensitive. Then I deleted my search history because I didn't want anyone to know I'd been digging through our family's social media looking for proof that I mattered. The next morning was Thursday, 2 days before the party that wasn't happening anymore, and I woke up to the sound of suitcases being dragged down the hallway. I checked my phone and saw that Madison had sent me a private message outside the group chat. "Hey, are you really okay? The family emergency thing seemed kind of sudden, and you've been weird lately. You know you can talk to me, right?" she wrote. I appreciated her concern, I really did. But how do you explain to someone that your family emergency is just your parents choosing your sister over you? How do you say that out loud without sounding dramatic and attention-seeking? I got dressed and went downstairs to find my mom making pancakes, Emma's favorite breakfast, shaped like Mickey Mouse heads because apparently we were starting the Disney theme early. "Morning, sweetheart. Want some pancakes?" my mom asked cheerfully, like yesterday's conversation had never happened. I looked at the Mickey Mouse pancakes, at Emma sitting at the table already dressed in a Disney World t-shirt she must have ordered online, at my dad reading an article on his phone about the best rides at Magic Kingdom. "No thanks, I'm not hungry," I said, pouring myself a glass of orange juice. My mom shrugged and flipped another pancake, humming some song from Frozen under her breath. "So, Nicole, what are you going to do this weekend while we're gone?" Emma asked between bites of her pancake. The question was innocent enough, but it hit me like a punch to the stomach. What was I going to do? Sit at home alone on what was supposed to be my birthday party weekend? Watch TV and pretend I wasn't devastated? I don't know. Maybe catch up on homework, I said, my voice flat. Emma nodded like that sounded perfectly reasonable. Like spending your 15th birthday weekend alone doing homework was a totally normal and acceptable plan. She probably genuinely didn't see anything wrong with this whole situation, because in her world, everything always worked out perfectly. Tyler came downstairs then, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder, and I felt my last hope crumble. "You're going too?" I asked him. He had the decency to look uncomfortable. "Yeah, Mom and Dad thought it would be good for all of us to go. Family bonding and whatever," he said, not meeting my eyes. So it was official. My entire family was abandoning me on my birthday weekend to celebrate Emma's achievement, and I was expected to smile and wave them off like it didn't shatter something inside me. "Have fun," I said, setting down my juice glass and heading back upstairs before anyone could see the tears starting to form in my eyes. I spent the rest of Thursday in my room, listening to my family prepare for their trip. Around noon, my dad knocked on my door. "Nicole, can I come in?" he asked. I almost said no, almost told him to go away, but some small part of me hoped maybe he was coming to apologize, to say they'd reconsidered, to tell me my birthday mattered too. "Sure," I called out. He opened the door and stood there awkwardly, hands in his pockets, looking everywhere except directly at me. "Listen, kiddo, I know this isn't ideal timing, but Emma worked really hard for this opportunity, and your mother and I think it's important to show her we support her goals," he started. "And my goals don't matter?" I interrupted. He sighed like I was being difficult. "That's not what I'm saying. You're different from Emma, Nicole. You're independent. You're responsible. You don't need as much from us." "That's a good thing. That's something to be proud of," he said, and I realized he actually believed this. He genuinely thought that because I didn't demand constant attention and praise like Emma did, I must not need or want it. "Being independent shouldn't mean being invisible, Dad," I said quietly, my voice shaking despite my best efforts to sound strong. He looked genuinely confused, like this thought had never occurred to him before. "You're not invisible, Nicole. We love you just as much as we love Emma," he said, but his words rang hollow. Love and attention aren't the same thing, and I was learning that lesson in the cruelest way possible. "Then why does Emma get a week at Disney World and I get my birthday canceled?" I asked, finally voicing the question that had been burning in my chest since yesterday. My dad ran his hand through his hair, a gesture he made when he was frustrated and didn't want to admit he was wrong. "It's not canceled, just postponed. And this isn't about choosing one daughter over the other. It's about timing. Emma's program is this specific week. We can't change that. Your birthday happens every year. We can celebrate it any time," he explained, using that same reasonable tone that made me feel crazy for being upset. "But birthdays don't happen anytime. They happen on specific days, and those days matter. At least they should matter." "Never mind, Dad. Just forget it. Have a great trip," I said, turning away from him and staring at my wall. He stood there for another minute, clearly wanting to say something else but not knowing what. Finally, he just said, "We'll bring you back a souvenir," and left, closing the door softly behind him. A souvenir? That was supposed to make up for missing my 15th birthday. A stuffed Mickey Mouse or a cheap t-shirt that said, "My family went to Disney World and all I got was this lousy shirt," except in my case it would be painfully accurate. I heard his footsteps going back downstairs, heard him tell my mom, "I talked to her, she's fine." And I wondered if he actually believed that, or if he just wanted to believe it, so he didn't have to feel guilty. That afternoon, I took down all the decorations in my room. The pink balloons, the streamers I'd hung across my ceiling, the happy birthday banner I'd strung up over my desk. I shoved everything into a garbage bag and stuffed it in the back of my closet, where I wouldn't have to look at it. Then I called Morrison's Bakery and canceled the cake order. The woman on the phone sounded sympathetic when I explained there was a family emergency and we needed to cancel. "I'm so sorry to hear that, honey. We'll process the refund and I hope everything works out," she said sweetly, and her kindness from a complete stranger made me feel worse somehow. I texted Angelo's Pizza next and canceled our order for Saturday. Then I just sat on my bed, looking at my room that no longer had any trace of birthday celebration in it, and I felt empty. Not angry anymore, not even really sad, just hollow. My phone buzzed with messages from friends responding to the cancellation, sending heart emojis and hope everything's okay messages, and I responded to each one with a simple, "Thanks, we'll reschedule soon," even though I had no intention of rescheduling. How do you reschedule a 15th birthday party? How do you recapture that specific moment when you're supposed to feel special and celebrated? You can't. That moment was gone, stolen by Emma's achievement and my parents' priorities. Friday morning arrived with the chaos of my family's departure. Suitcases lined up by the front door, my mom triple-checking everyone had their boarding passes on their phones, Emma bouncing around in her Disney ears she'd apparently bought online. I stayed upstairs until I heard my mom call up, "Nicole, come say goodbye," like I was supposed to cheerfully send them off on their vacation. I walked downstairs slowly, taking in the scene of my entire family ready to leave me behind without a second thought. Tyler was scrolling through his phone, already mentally checked out. My dad was loading bags into the car. Emma was taking selfies with her Mickey ears. "You're sure you'll be okay here by yourself this weekend?" my mom asked, but her tone suggested she wasn't actually concerned, more like she was checking a box on her mental to-do list. "We'd left emergency money on the counter, and Mrs. Patterson next door has our number if you need anything. There's food in the fridge, and you know how to use the microwave." She rattled off instructions like I was 10 instead of about to be 15. "I'll be fine, Mom," I said tonelessly. She pulled me into a quick hug that felt more like a formality than actual affection. "We'll celebrate your birthday properly when we get back, I promise. Maybe we'll take you to that fancy restaurant downtown you mentioned once," she said. I hadn't mentioned any restaurant. She was thinking of Emma, who'd been begging to go to this upscale steakhouse for months. Even in the moment of trying to make me feel better, she confused me with my sister. I didn't bother correcting her. "Sounds great," I lied. Emma hugged me next, her enthusiasm undiminished by the situation. "I'll send you tons of pictures, and I'll get you something really cool from the gift shop," she promised, and I felt a flash of resentment so strong it scared me. This wasn't Emma's fault, not really. She didn't ask them to cancel my party, she didn't demand they all go with her. But still, I couldn't help feeling angry at her for being the golden child, for effortlessly receiving all the love and attention I had to beg for. Tyler gave me an awkward side hug and whispered, "Sorry about all this," in my ear, which was probably the most emotional support I was going to get from my 18-year-old brother. Then they were all walking out the door, my dad calling, "Love you, kiddo," over his shoulder, and I was standing alone in the doorway watching my family drive away to celebrate Emma while I stayed behind like an afterthought. I stood there until their car disappeared around the corner, until the sound of the engine faded completely, and then I closed the door and locked it. The house was silent. Completely, utterly silent in a way that made my ears ring. I walked through the rooms, each one feeling bigger and emptier than before. The living room where we were supposed to host the party tomorrow, now just a space with furniture and no purpose. The kitchen where we were supposed to set up the food and the cake, now just counters and appliances. My bedroom where I was supposed to get ready with Madison, do our makeup together, take pictures before everyone arrived, now just a room with a bed and a desk and crushing loneliness. Saturday morning, my actual party day, I woke up to silence. No sounds of my family moving around downstairs. No smell of my mom's coffee brewing. No TV playing in the living room. Just silence. I checked my phone and saw a message in the family group chat that had been sent at 6 in the morning. "Made it to Orlando. Hotel is beautiful. Emma's already spotted 3 people in Disney costumes." With a picture attached of my family in the hotel lobby, all smiling like they were having the time of their lives. Emma was in the center, of course, my parents on either side of her. Tyler in the back, looking tired but present. They looked like a complete family, like they weren't missing anyone. I got out of bed and went downstairs, the floorboards creaking under my feet in the empty house. Mrs. Patterson from next door had apparently taken it upon herself to check on me because I found a casserole dish on the front porch with a note that said, "Heard your family had to go out of town. Here's some food so you don't starve, dear. Call if you need anything." The kindness of this woman I barely knew, who remembered I existed and cared enough to make me food, made me start crying right there on the front porch at 8 in the morning. I brought the casserole inside and put it in the fridge next to all the food my mom had pointed out yesterday, food that would take me weeks to eat by myself. My phone started buzzing with messages from friends, birthday wishes sent at midnight that I was just now seeing. Happy early birthday, Nicole. Wish we could celebrate with you tomorrow. And hope your family emergency gets resolved soon. Miss you. And can't wait to reschedule the party. Each message was well-intentioned, and each one made me feel worse. I responded to them with thank you emojis and heart emojis, playing the part of the understanding friend who totally wasn't devastated that her entire birthday had been derailed. Madison called me around 10, and I almost didn't answer, but she would have just kept calling until I picked up. How are you doing? What's the emergency? Is everyone okay? She asked, her voice full of genuine concern. I hadn't told anyone the real reason for the cancellation, hadn't admitted that there was no emergency except my family's complete disregard for my feelings. Everyone's fine. Emma got into this special program at Disney World and they had to go this weekend. Last minute thing, I said, trying to sound casual. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Wait, they all went to Disney World? This weekend? Your birthday weekend? Madison asked slowly, like she was making sure she understood correctly. Yeah, it's fine though. It's an important opportunity for Emma, I said, parroting my parents' words. Nicole, that's not fine. That's actually really messed up. They canceled your birthday party to take your sister to Disney World? Madison's voice had gone from concerned to angry on my behalf, and hearing someone else validate my feelings almost made me cry again. It's complicated, I muttered, even though it really wasn't complicated at all. No, it's not. It's your birthday and they chose to leave you at home alone while they go on vacation with your sister. That's not complicated. That's just wrong, she said firmly. We talked for another 20 minutes, her trying to convince me to come hang out with her family for the day, me declining because I didn't want to be anyone's pity case. But before we hung up, she said something that stuck with me. You deserve better than this, Nicole. I hope you know that. I spent most of Saturday doing absolutely nothing. I watched TV shows I didn't care about, scrolled through social media seeing everyone else's exciting weekend plans, and tried not to think about the fact that this was supposed to be my day. Around 2 in the afternoon, my phone buzzed with another update from the family group chat. This time it was a video of Emma meeting a marine biologist at Epcot. Her face lit up with pure joy as the woman explained something about sea turtles. This is amazing. Emma is learning so much already. My mom had captioned it with about 15 excited emojis. Nobody had wished me happy early birthday in the group chat. Nobody had even mentioned that tomorrow was my actual birthday. I closed the family chat and opened Instagram, which was a mistake. My mom had posted the same video of Emma to her Instagram story with the caption, "So proud of my baby girl living her dreams. This program is incredible and so worth the trip." She'd tagged the location as Epcot Center, added a bunch of heart and star emojis, and her post already had 60 likes and a dozen comments from relatives and family friends congratulating Emma. I clicked on my mom's profile and looked at her grid. The last post about me was from my 14th birthday, one single picture with a basic caption. The post before that about me was from 9 months earlier when I got honor roll. Meanwhile, her grid was flooded with Emma content: Emma at cheer practice, Emma at the science fair, Emma at the beach, Emma at a family dinner, Emma, Emma, Emma. I did something then that I'm not proud of. I went through and liked every single old post on my mom's Instagram that featured me, just those 3 posts from the last year. Then I commented on my own birthday post from last year, "Thanks for remembering me sometimes," and immediately regretted it. I deleted the comment 30 seconds later, but the damage was done. I felt petty and pathetic, like a toddler throwing a tantrum for attention. But that's what I'd been reduced to, literally begging for scraps of acknowledgement from my own mother through social media. I threw my phone across the couch and put my face in my hands, trying to hold back the tears that kept threatening to spill over. The rest of Saturday passed in a blur of emptiness. I ate some of Mrs. Patterson's casserole for dinner, took a long shower, and went to bed early because what else was there to do? My phone buzzed periodically with updates from my family, pictures of them at various Disney attractions, videos of Emma geeking out over marine life exhibits, photos of them eating at fancy restaurants in the park. Not a single message directed at me specifically. Not a single "wish you were here" or "miss you" or "thinking of you." Just group chat updates treating me like an audience member for Emma's special vacation, rather than a family member who should have mattered. Sunday morning, my actual 15th birthday, I woke up at 7 and immediately checked my phone. Nothing. No messages in the family group chat, no individual texts, no calls. I waited, telling myself they were probably just busy or had forgotten what time zone they were in, or would remember later. By 9 o'clock, still nothing. By 11, I stopped making excuses for them. They'd forgotten. On my actual birthday, my entire family was at Disney World having the time of their lives, and they'd forgotten it was my birthday. I sat there on my bed, wearing the same pajamas I'd slept in, and felt something inside me break completely. Not crack, not bend, but actually shatter into pieces that I wasn't sure could be put back together. Around noon, Tyler finally sent a text, just to me, not the group chat. Happy birthday. Sorry we're not there, it said, short and awkward, but at least it was something. I typed back thanks and waited for my parents to remember. 1 o'clock came and went, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. At 4:30, my mom finally sent a message to the group chat, not even a private message to me. Happy birthday, Nicole. Hope you're having a good day. We'll celebrate properly when we get home, with a single birthday cake emoji. That was it. 5.5 hours late, a generic group message that felt more like an obligation than genuine care. My dad didn't message at all. I didn't respond to my mom's message. I just stared at it, reading those words over and over, trying to find some hidden meaning or affection that wasn't there. Hope you're having a good day, she wrote, like she couldn't possibly imagine that I might not be having a good day spending my 15th birthday completely alone while my entire family partied at Disney World without me. I opened my messages with Madison and typed, "They forgot until 4:30, and sent it. She responded immediately with, "Are you kidding me right now?" followed by 3 angry face emojis. "Want me to come over?" she asked, but I told her no. I didn't want anyone to see me like this, broken and pathetic on my birthday. Instead, I did something I'd been avoiding all weekend. I went into my parents' room, the place that was usually off limits unless we were specifically invited in. I'm not sure what I was looking for. Maybe evidence that they actually cared about me somewhere beneath all the Emma worship. Maybe just a reason to feel justified in my anger. Their room was neat and organized. My mom's side of the closet color coordinated. My dad's dresser topped with a framed photo of our family from 2 years ago. I looked at that photo, all 5 of us smiling at the camera, and wondered when exactly I'd become invisible to them. Was it gradual, or was there a specific moment when they decided Emma was worth more of their love? I opened my mom's nightstand drawer, not really snooping, just looking. Inside were the usual things: reading glasses, hand lotion, a book she'd apparently started and never finished. But underneath was a stack of cards, the kind you buy at the store for special occasions. I pulled them out and started going through them. Birthday cards for Emma going back 3 years, each one carefully saved. A card congratulating Emma on making the cheer squad. A card celebrating Emma's science fair win. I kept digging, looking for cards meant for me, for Tyler, for anyone else in this family. At the very bottom, I found one birthday card with my name on it from 2 years ago. The envelope slightly bent like it had been shoved in there as an afterthought. I opened it and read my mom's handwriting inside. Happy 13th birthday, Nicole. You're growing into such a responsible young woman. Love, Mom, and Dad. Responsible. There was that word again. Not wonderful or amazing or special, just responsible. Like my defining characteristic was being able to take care of myself so they didn't have to. I put the cards back exactly as I'd found them and closed the drawer, feeling sick to my stomach. The evidence was right there in that drawer, a physical representation of how my parents valued their children. Emma got cards saved and treasured for every small achievement. I got one generic card for a milestone birthday that praised me for needing less from them. I left their room and went back to my own, lying on my bed and staring at the ceiling while the afternoon light slowly faded. My phone buzzed with more birthday wishes from extended family, aunts and uncles and cousins who remembered my birthday even though my own parents barely had. My grandmother called and we talked for 20 minutes, her asking about my party, me lying and saying it was great. I couldn't tell her the truth, couldn't admit that her son had chosen to miss my birthday entirely. She'd be disappointed in him. And for some reason, I still felt the need to protect my parents' image, even though they clearly didn't care about protecting my feelings. That evening, I made myself a sandwich for dinner and sat alone at the kitchen table in the silent house. This was my 15th birthday celebration. A turkey sandwich and a glass of water in an empty house, while my family lived it up at the happiest place on earth. I thought about all the birthdays I'd celebrated for Emma, all the times I'd helped pick out presents for her, helped decorate for her parties, smiled in family photos while we sang happy birthday to her. I'd always been there for her special moments. But when it was my turn, my family couldn't be bothered to even stay in the same state as me. I grabbed my phone and opened the Notes app, typing out everything I was feeling because I needed to get it out somewhere even if nobody would ever read it. Dear family, you forgot me. Not just today, but every day for as long as I can remember. Emma is your pride and joy. You've made that crystal clear. I'm just the responsible one, the one who doesn't need attention or praise or basic acknowledgement. I've spent 15 years trying to earn your love, and today I realized I never will. Not because I'm not good enough, but because you've already decided who deserves your love and it's not me. I don't know how to forgive you for this. I don't know if I want to. I read it over 3 times, then saved it in a folder labeled unsent and locked my phone. At 8 o'clock, my mom called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Hello? I said flatly. Nicole, happy birthday, sweetie. I'm so sorry we didn't call earlier. The day just got away from us. We've been so busy with Emma's program and exploring the parks. She gushed, her voice bright and cheerful like nothing was wrong. It's fine, I lied. Are you having a good day? Did you do anything special? She asked, and I almost laughed at the absurdity of the question. What exactly did she think I could do alone on my birthday while my entire family was out of town? Just relaxed, I said, keeping my answers short. Well, we're having such an amazing time here. Emma met 3 different marine biologists today, and she's learning so much. Your dad took us to this incredible restaurant for dinner, and tomorrow we're going to Magic Kingdom. Tyler's been a good sport about all the educational stuff, and Emma is just glowing, Nicole. You should see her, she's so happy. My mom rambled on about Emma's happiness, Emma's experiences, Emma's everything. She talked for 5 minutes straight without once asking a follow-up question about my day or acknowledging that spending your birthday alone might be difficult. That's great, Mom. I'm happy for her, I said, my voice hollow. We'll make it up to you when we get home, I promise. We'll have a special dinner, just the family, and celebrate you properly, she said, and I could tell she genuinely believed this promise would fix everything. Like a dinner could make up for missing my birthday, for canceling my party, for choosing Emma over me for the millionth time. The rest of my family's vacation continued much like it started, with constant updates in the group chat about Emma's incredible experiences and zero acknowledgement of anything happening in my life. Monday, they went to Hollywood Studios. Tuesday, they did Animal Kingdom. Wednesday, they stayed for extra magic hours at Magic Kingdom. Each day brought a flood of photos and videos, my parents' faces beaming with pride as they documented every moment of Emma's dream vacation. I stopped checking the group chat after Tuesday. Couldn't stomach seeing any more evidence of how much fun they were having without me. Mrs. Patterson checked on me twice more during the week, bringing over cookies on Wednesday and asking if I needed anything. Her kindness was almost harder to accept than my family's neglect, because it reminded me what actual care looked like. I went back to school on Monday, lying to everyone who asked about my birthday weekend. It was good, low-key, became my standard response, delivered with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Madison knew the truth, but she respected my privacy enough not to broadcast it to our entire friend group. During lunch on Wednesday, a group of girls from my English class surprised me with a cupcake and sang happy birthday, completely unprompted and unexpected. These girls I barely knew outside of class discussions about Shakespeare remembered my birthday and made an effort to celebrate me. I cried in the bathroom after lunch, overwhelmed by how strangers showed me more thoughtfulness than my own family. That afternoon, I made a decision that had been forming in my mind all week, slowly solidifying like concrete setting into its final shape. When my family came home on Thursday evening, I was in my room doing homework. I heard the front door open, heard Emma's excited voice recounting something about her last day at the program, heard my parents laughing and Tyler dragging suitcases up the stairs. "Nicole, we're home!" my mom called up, her voice sing-songy and bright. I took a deep breath, closed my textbook, and went downstairs to face them. They were all gathered in the living room, tanned and relaxed, surrounded by shopping bags and suitcases. Emma ran up and hugged me immediately, shoving a gift bag into my hands. "I got you the coolest stuff from the parks. There's a book about marine biology and a really pretty journal and some candy," she said enthusiastically. I looked down at the gift bag, at the carefully selected items Emma had chosen for me, and I felt that now familiar twist in my chest. Emma wasn't the problem. She'd never been the problem. She was just a kid who'd been spoiled and prioritized her whole life and didn't know any different. "Thanks, Emma," I said quietly, setting the bag on the coffee table. My mom pulled me into a hug that felt performative, like she was checking another box on her good parent checklist. "We missed you. How was your week? Did you manage okay by yourself?" she asked, already moving on to sort through bags before I could answer. My dad gave me a side hug and handed me a Disney World t-shirt. "Got you a souvenir, kiddo," he said with a smile that I'm sure he thought was warm. I stood there holding this generic t-shirt that probably cost $15, looking at my family who'd just returned from a week-long vacation that likely cost several $1,000s, and something inside me snapped. Not in an explosive way, but in a quiet, final way, like a rope that's been fraying for years finally breaking. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady and calm in a way that surprised even me. My mom looked up from the shopping bags, her smile faltering slightly. "Of course, honey. What's wrong?" she asked, and I almost laughed at the question. What's wrong? Where did I even start? "You forgot my birthday," I said simply, looking at each of them in turn. My mom's face flushed slightly and she started to protest. "Nicole, we didn't forget. I called you on your birthday and we sent you a message. We just couldn't be there in person because of Emma's program," she said defensively, like this was a perfectly reasonable explanation. I shook my head slowly. "You didn't call until 8 at night, Mom. You sent a group text message 5.5 hours late, and you canceled my birthday party, the one I'd been planning for months, with 3 days' notice so you could all go celebrate Emma," I said, my voice still eerily calm. Tyler shifted uncomfortably, suddenly very interested in his shoes. Emma looked confused, like she was just now realizing this might have been a bigger deal than she thought. My dad sighed that sigh he made when he thought I was being overdramatic. "Nicole, we've been over this. Emma's opportunity was time-sensitive. We promised we'd celebrate your birthday when we got back, and we will. We're planning to take you to dinner this weekend," he said, using that patient tone that made me feel like a child throwing a tantrum. But I wasn't a child anymore, and I wasn't throwing a tantrum. I was finally, after 15 years, standing up for myself. "Do you know what I did on my birthday?" I asked, and when nobody answered, I continued. "I woke up alone. I ate breakfast alone. I waited all day for someone to remember, for someone to call or text or acknowledge that it was my 15th birthday. Mrs. Patterson, our neighbor who I barely know, brought me food and checked on me more than my own family did. Madison and her family invited me over because they felt bad for me. Girls from my English class bought me a cupcake because they knew it was my birthday and wanted to celebrate with me. Strangers and acquaintances showed me more care on my birthday than the people who are supposed to love me most." My voice cracked slightly on the last sentence, but I pushed through. My mom's expression shifted from defensive to something that might have been guilt. "Honey, we were just caught up in everything happening with Emma. It wasn't intentional," she started, but I cut her off. "That's exactly the problem, Mom. You were so caught up in Emma that you forgot I existed. And it's not just my birthday, it's everything. It's always been everything." I pulled out my phone and opened my mom's Facebook page, turning the screen toward her. 47 posts about Emma in the last 6 months. 3 about me. 1 was just sharing a post from my work. Do you understand how that feels? To know that your own mother thinks you're only worth mentioning every other month? "Social media doesn't mean anything," my mom said weakly. "It means everything," I countered. "It means that Emma's accomplishments matter enough to brag about to all your friends and family. It means her life is interesting enough to document and celebrate. It means she's your pride and joy, which you literally said to me, and I'm just the responsible one who doesn't need attention." My dad tried to interrupt, but I kept going, 15 years of silence pouring out all at once. "I found your cards, Mom, the ones you saved in your nightstand. Dozens of cards for Emma celebrating every little thing. 1 card for me from 2 years ago calling me responsible. That's all I am to you people. Responsible. Easy. The kid who doesn't complain so you don't have to think about her." Emma started crying, which wasn't my intention, but also wasn't something I could stop for right now. "I didn't know," she whispered. "I didn't know they treated you different. I thought they were just proud of me because I work hard." I looked at my little sister, tears streaming down her face, and felt my anger soften toward her just slightly. "You do work hard, Emma, and you deserve to be celebrated for your achievements. But so do I. So does Tyler. A family isn't supposed to have a favorite, but ours does, and it's always been you. Not because you asked for it, but because they decided you were worth more of their time and attention and love than the rest of us." Tyler finally spoke up, his voice quiet but firm. "She's right. I've noticed it too. I just never said anything because I figured it was easier to keep the peace. But Nicole's right. You guys have always treated Emma like she's special, and the rest of us like we're just background characters in her story." My dad looked genuinely shocked, like this revelation was completely new information. "That's not true. We love all our children equally," he insisted. "Love and treatment aren't the same thing, Dad," I said. "You might love us the same in theory, but you definitely don't show it the same way. You canceled my birthday for Emma. Would you have ever canceled something important to Emma for me? Be honest." The silence that followed was deafening. My parents looked at each other, having one of their wordless conversations, and I could see the realization dawning on their faces. They couldn't say yes because we all knew the answer was no. They would never have canceled Emma's party for me, would never have asked Emma to sacrifice something important for my benefit, would never have left Emma home alone on her birthday while the rest of us went on vacation. The double standard was so obvious now that I'd pointed it out, and they couldn't hide behind excuses anymore. "What do you want from us, Nicole?" my mom asked finally, her voice small. "I want you to see me," I said, and my voice broke completely on those words. "I want you to care about my life the way you care about Emma's. I want you to remember my birthday without me having to remind you. I want you to post about my achievements with the same pride you show for hers. I want to feel like I matter to this family, not just as the responsible older sister who doesn't cause problems, but as a person who deserves love and attention and celebration. I'm tired of being invisible. I'm tired of making excuses for why you treat me like an afterthought. I'm just tired." Tears were streaming down my face now, all the emotion I'd been holding back for the past week finally breaking through. My mom started crying too, reaching for me, but I stepped back. "Don't," I said quietly. "Don't hug me and tell me you're sorry, and then go right back to the way things were. If you're actually sorry, prove it. Change. Make me feel like I'm your daughter too, not just Emma's sister." I wiped my eyes and looked at all of them. My family who I loved, and who I knew loved me, but who had hurt me so deeply I wasn't sure how to forgive them. "I'm going to my room. When you've actually thought about what I said, when you're ready to have a real conversation about how to fix this, let me know. But I'm done pretending everything's fine when it's not." I turned and walked upstairs, leaving them in the living room with their guilt and their souvenirs, and the weight of 15 years of neglect finally acknowledged. I didn't come down for dinner that night. My mom knocked on my door around 7, asking if I wanted to eat with them, but I said I wasn't hungry. The truth was I couldn't sit at that table and pretend to be a happy family when everything felt so broken. I heard them talking downstairs, voices low and serious in a way that was unusual for our house. Around 9, Emma knocked softly on my door. "Nicole, can I come in?" she asked hesitantly. I thought about saying no, about making her feel a fraction of the exclusion I'd felt my whole life, but that wasn't who I wanted to be. "Yeah," I called out. Emma came in and sat on the edge of my bed, her eyes red from crying. "I'm really sorry," she said immediately. "I didn't realize what was happening. I thought Mom and Dad were just excited about my stuff because I was younger and needed more help. I didn't know they were ignoring you." I believed her because Emma, for all her faults, had never been deliberately cruel. "It's not your fault," I said honestly. "You didn't ask to be the favorite, but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt watching you get everything while I got scraps." She nodded, wiping her nose with her sleeve. "I told Mom and Dad that I don't want special treatment anymore. I want us to be equal. I want you to feel like you're important too because you are, Nicole. You're my big sister and I look up to you even if I'm bad at showing it." Her words were sincere, and I felt some of the anger I'd been carrying start to dissolve. "Thank you for saying that," I said quietly. "I don't hate you, Emma. I never hated you. I just hated feeling invisible." We talked for another hour, really talked for the first time in years, about how the family dynamics had affected both of us. Emma admitted she felt pressured to be perfect all the time, to live up to all the attention and praise our parents gave her. I admitted I'd sometimes resented her for things that weren't her fault. By the time she left my room, we'd agreed to try to be actual sisters, not just two girls who happened to share parents. It wasn't a complete fix, but it was a start. The next morning, Friday, I woke up to find my parents sitting in the living room waiting for me. "Can we talk?" my dad asked when I came downstairs. I poured myself a glass of orange juice and sat in the armchair across from them, waiting. My mom looked like she hadn't slept much, her eyes puffy and tired. "We stayed up all night talking about everything you said. And you were right, Nicole. About all of it," she started, her voice thick with emotion. "We didn't realize how badly we'd been failing you. We got so caught up in Emma's activities and achievements that we stopped paying attention to you. We took for granted that you were okay because you never complained, never demanded attention the way Emma did. But that wasn't fair to you." My dad continued where my mom left off. "We love you just as much as we love Emma and Tyler. But we clearly haven't been showing it in a way that makes you feel loved, and that's on us. That's our failure as parents, not your failure as a daughter. You've been nothing but wonderful, responsible, kind, hardworking, And we should have been celebrating those qualities instead of using them as an excuse to ignore you. He paused, clearing his throat. I'm sorry we missed your birthday. I'm sorry we canceled your party. I'm sorry we made you feel invisible. Those are things we can't take back, but we want to do better going forward if you'll give us a chance. My mom pulled out a piece of paper, and I realized they'd actually written a list. We made some commitments that we want you to hold us to, she said. First, no more last-minute cancellations of your important events unless it's a genuine emergency. Second, we're going to make sure we're celebrating your achievements publicly and privately the same way we do Emma's. Third, we're setting aside time every week for one-on-one attention with each of you kids. Not just family time, but individual time where you get our complete focus. Fourth, we're going to have family meetings once a month where anyone can bring up concerns about fairness without fear of being dismissed. And fifth, we're going to reschedule your birthday party for next month, fully funded and fully supported, so you can have the celebration you deserved. She looked up from the list with tears in her eyes. Will you give us a chance to prove we can change? I looked at the list, at my parents' earnest faces, at the genuine remorse I could see in their expressions, and I felt something loosen in my chest. This wasn't an instant fix, wasn't a magic solution that would erase 15 years of feeling second best, but it was acknowledgement. It was effort. It was them finally seeing me and committing to do better. Okay, I said slowly, but I need you to understand that rebuilding this trust is going to take time. You can't mess up once and then go back to the old patterns. You have to actually follow through on these promises, consistently, or this doesn't work. They both nodded eagerly, and I continued. And I need you to know that I'm not going to stay quiet anymore if I feel ignored or dismissed. I'm done being the easy kid who doesn't make waves. If something bothers me, I'm going to say so, and you need to listen. We will, my dad promised. We want you to speak up. We want to hear when we're falling short because clearly we're not good at noticing on our own. My mom reached over and took my hand, and this time I didn't pull away. Can we start over? Not completely because we can't erase the past. But can we start trying to be the family you deserve? She asked. I squeezed her hand and nodded. Yeah, we can try, I said. Over the next few weeks, my parents actually followed through on their commitments. My mom started posting about my life on social media, sharing when I got Employee of the Month at the bookstore, posting pictures of us together with captions about how proud she was of me. My dad started coming to my room in the evenings just to talk about my day, asking about school and friends and what I was reading. They set up a standing Friday night tradition where each kid got to pick an activity and everyone had to participate, making sure we all got equal attention and consideration. They rescheduled my birthday party for exactly 1 month after my actual birthday, and they went all out. They invited all my friends, ordered double the food I'd originally planned, got an even bigger cake from Morrison's Bakery, and actually showed up with enthusiasm and genuine celebration. My mom took about 100 photos, posting them all with captions about how amazing and special I was. Emma helped me decorate and didn't make the party about her at all. Tyler DJ'd with his laptop and actually played music I liked. My parents gave me a beautiful new camera, a real professional one I'd been dreaming about for years, with a card that said, "For our talented, creative, wonderful daughter who deserves to be seen and celebrated. We love you, Nicole. We're sorry it took us so long to show it properly." I cried when I read it, but this time they were good tears. Things weren't perfect after that. Old habits die hard, and my parents still occasionally slipped into putting Emma first. But the difference was now they caught themselves, or I called them out, and they listened. Emma and I became closer, developing an actual sisterly relationship built on honesty instead of resentment. Tyler started speaking up more too, admitting he'd felt overlooked in different ways, and we worked together as a family to make sure everyone felt valued. My 15th year ended up being a turning point, not just for my birthday, but for my entire family dynamic. I learned that speaking up for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. I learned that loving someone means showing them they matter, not just assuming they know. And I learned that sometimes families need to break a little bit before they can heal stronger than before. Looking back now, I realized that my canceled birthday party was actually a gift in disguise. It forced a conversation that was 15 years overdue, shattered a family dynamic that was hurting all of us, and gave me the courage to stop accepting less than I deserved. If you're watching this and you've ever felt invisible in your own family, ever felt like you came second to a sibling, ever wondered if speaking up would make you the bad guy, I want you to know something important. Your feelings are valid. You deserve to be seen and celebrated and loved out loud, not just in theory, but in action. Don't wait 15 years like I did to tell the people in your life how they're making you feel. You are not being dramatic. You are not asking for too much. You are simply asking to be treated like you matter, because you do. If this story resonated with you, if you've been the forgotten kid or the responsible one who got overlooked, leave a comment below telling me your story. I read every single comment, and I want you to know you're not alone in feeling this way. Hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more real stories about family, relationships, and finding your voice when the world tries to silence you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's been making themselves smaller to keep the peace, someone who deserves to know they're worth more than scraps of attention. Your story matters. Your feelings matter. You matter. And don't let anyone, not even family, make you forget that. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for being part of this community where we lift each other up and remind each other of our worth. I'll see you in the next video.